Hey guys, it's Tape the Grape, and in today's video, I'm going to be telling you about what happened today. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to tell you that I literally made these clips talking about this earlier, but I was just mumbling, jumbling, mixing my things up. I'm going to try and say it calmly and slowly so you can actually understand what I'm trying to say. So, the other day, I called and scheduled a time to get the trans fluid and filter replaced on this because I knew it was a little bit overfilled. Don't know if the previous shop overfilled it or what, who knows. But regardless, it was a little overfilled and it was bubbling on, it was like had bubbles on the transmission dipstick. Well, anyway, so I finally was going to start it up 8 o'clock in the morning to go drive it there to the shop because that's the time I scheduled it, of course. So this never happened before. While I was driving down the road, all of a sudden it seemed like it was slowing down. I pressed the accelerator, didn't do anything. I wasn't sure at the time if it was the engine or the transmission. Regardless, it went down to like a crawl, and I was pressing the accelerator, it was doing nothing. It wasn't even revving, so that's why I don't know if it's a trans or an engine issue. But anyway, so like it's at a crawl, and I don't think at any point it didn't work at all. It just barely moved forward. So I quickly, I was in the busy road, so I put my flashers on, put it in park. I'm like, oh crap, what do I do? Quickly called my fiance, told her what happened. She was already on her way. She was driving the Blazer to the shop because, early in the morning I drop this off and go back home, go back to sleep. So I called her, told her. Anyway, she came, or before she came to where I was at, I actually shut it off, put it in neutral, tried pushing it. I knew I wasn't going to get it far, but I was like, all right, well, let me start it up because I'll at least need power brakes. Still couldn't push it, obviously. Then I was like, well, let me try and put it in drive again. So I put it back in drive, and it, boom, shifts really hard into drive, but then it starts working again. Again, when I had it in neutral or in drive, I was revving the engine. The engine wouldn't rev up, nor obviously, what I'm trying to say is I don't know if the engine was just not happy and it wasn't moving because the engine was just at idle and wouldn't rev up, or if it is a trans issue. But anyway, I was able to drive it to the shop, told them exactly what happened, so instead of just doing the trans filter and gasket, let's look and see why it did that. So they got it in. I went home, went back to bed. About a few hours later, they called me when they finally got it to look at it. They said, yeah, we took a look at it. It ran and drove just fine for us before they did any work. I forget what they told me. There was a code in the system that said something to do with the transmission. It's so important that I should have remembered this, but for whatever reason, I don't remember what the code they said was. From what I can recall, it wasn't something major. It wasn't like, oh, total engine malfunction or transmission. I'm sorry. If I say engine, I mean transmission, usually in this video. But anyway, so yeah, it said something, so it probably was transmission related. But anyway, I asked them what their suggestion was, and they said, oh, well, let's do a transmission flush. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to do a transmission flush because, if you know anything about old cars and transmission flushes, that could push debris and stuff in the valve body in places it doesn't belong. But he made a good point when he said, well, if the transmission is toast, well, it wouldn't really hurt, except spending money on it. Wouldn't really hurt to get it done. It wouldn't really hurt anything worse. If it's toast, it's toast. So I was like, all right, sure. I wanted him to change, just a spill and fill originally, drop the pan, change the filter and gasket. He didn't. I don't know if he didn't want to do it or he was like shying away from it. He said, no, I think it'd be best to do and I even, a flush. I even told him, I raised my concerns on, well, what if dirt debris gets in the valve body? Again, I'm getting kind of confused. So anyway, I already told you that. He said, well, if it's toast, it's toast. It's going to break anyway. So anyway, I decided to go with the flush. He did not change the filter like I wanted. He told me before I paid for it that he didn't. Before he even did the work. I was like, I would like it, but what are you going to do, right? So I did it. Thankfully, it seems to be working good. When he finally got it done, he test drove it again, he said, and it worked good. I got it, paid $70 less than he told me originally, which is really nice. But it was Harlem Road Automotive, what it's called, in Loves Park, Illinois, if you're curious. But anyway, I drove it home, and it drove just fine. No issues. Didn't do that weird bogging down, losing power in drive thing. And then I had it parked for a few hours, and now I just went to Walmart and back, and it didn't do anything. So I guess in the coming days, we'll see if it continues to do it or not. I do know the one weak point on these Grand Marquis, Crown Vics, and Lincoln Town cars is the transmission. They're good transmissions, but heat and stress really kills them quickly. Otherwise, everything else on these cars is pretty much bulletproof. But yeah, I mean, it's only got 115,000 miles. Unless someone was really romping on it or being really hard on it, I mean, it's in pretty nice shape. I do know the previous owner's kid had it for a little while, and they got it themselves, got it from the original owner. It's probably a World War II veteran. You've probably seen my video on it. If not, it's on my channel. Maybe link in the description, maybe, if I feel like it. But regardless, it's in pretty nice shape. One little ding here and there. No rust because it's from Florida. Was it the Tampa Bay area or Largo, Florida, somewhere in that area. But anyway, yeah. So transmission's the issue on these, but it's working fine now. Like I said, just went to Walmart and got groceries. Sorry this video is extra long, but well, since it's long, you feel free to watch or not watch. But I'll put the initial video clip originally at the end of this. It's my junk food groceries. But anyway. And yeah, it's still on the road, thank goodness. Because I don't know what I'd do with another vehicle breaking or getting rid of it, you know, being down to one vehicle again. Alex has a new job, and it's a pretty high-paying job. She's a dog groomer, I'll tell you that. I don't know if I mentioned it in the video. But anyway, at this point you can click off, otherwise you can stick around and watch the next clip. What happened, the clip I made right when I got to the shop after that whole scenario happened. But anyway. Hey guys, it's Taped Grape, but I was just driving the Grand Marquis to the shop to get a trans fluid and filter change, but on my way here, don't know what happened. Felt like the trans stopped working in drive completely, but the engine also started running really rough. I don't know if it was I don't know if it's initially a trans problem that made the engine stop running really well, or if it was just the engine that did it. I really know, but I shut it off, started it back up. Seemed to get here fine, but that's obviously a really concerning issue. So we'll see what they say, but until then, looks like something really bad for the Grand Marquis. That's unfortunate, but I'll keep you updated. But despite all that, the Blazer being really rattly and clattery and really misaligned and really rough ride, it's still doing just fine, running and driving every day just fine.